Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Okay, my love, I have put everything that I offer for free on one page so that we are not doing more work than we have to, because why would we do that? Hashtag work smarter, not harder. So livemyhappyhealth.com/free. You are going to find everything I've created for not only leveling up in your personal life and building a life that you love, but leveling up in your business life and building a business that you love. Okay? livemyhappyhealth.com/free. Love you. Hello, podcast fam. Welcome to the first episode of 2023. What a year 2022 was. It was like every year, full of wonderful things and tragic things and hard things and easy things and all of the things, because when you take a long enough cross-section, life is so many things, right? It contains multitudes. You contain multitudes. That's certainly proved true for 2022. So I'm going to do a year-end recap. Kitty apparently likes this idea. For all those people who are super nosy, I'm a huge fan of year-end recaps. Well, mostly because I'm just really fucking nosy. So here we go. So I'm going to do it in kind of two phases, some really big wins that I had, some really like cool stuff, and then some big lessons, because I don't believe that you lose. I believe that you fuck around and you find out. So that is what happened this year. I fucked around and I found some things out, as you do. So let's start with some wins, shall we? One of the really cool wins that I had, and this is like both business and personal recap. So we actually doubled our revenue for the practice. So for those of you that may be new to me or don't know, I'm a full-time therapist. I run my own practice out of the farm, and we doubled revenue this year. So last year we hit 6 figures, and this year we doubled that, which is pretty dope. That came with expanding to a team. So at this time last year, I have my work wife, Brittany, who is still with us. I will never not be with her if I can help it. And Erin, who I brought on in December of last year, who is just, imagine like a cat in human form. Like that's very Erin energy. And I brought on 2 little baby birds who are fresh out of school. They graduated in May, Brittany and Lindsay, and they are phenomenal. They are so good already. Listen, when I first got out of school, I was like, oh, bless my first clients and my supervisors at the time. Because your girl needed a lot of training, a lot of training to be this good. So we brought on 2 baby birds, and I got my supervisor's credential in order to be able to supervise them. So when you are doing a therapy license, when you're doing a clinical license, you have to be under a supervisor for 2 years, kind of minimum. It depends on hours, but we'll just say 2 years. So in order to bring them on, I had to get my supervisor's credential. So I did that at the very end of 2021 and was able to bring them on as a supervisor and be their supervisor, which has been very cool. So stepping into like a supervisor role, a leadership role like that has been very interesting, to say the least. It definitely required me to level up a lot of skills. I thought that I was really good at communicating. Turns out I needed some work on that. So thank you very much to my little baby birds for not killing me during this time. But all of that led to doubling revenue, which was really cool. So Next year, the goal is not to double again. I am not in that space. If it happens, totally dope. I'm not counting on it at all, and I'm not planning for it. So if we leave room for magic, perhaps it'll happen. But I'm not like super dedicated to that happening. We are more in a chill zone. This year really proved to kind of be like a building out year, a scaling year. Like, let's set a really strong foundation so that next year I can focus more on coaching. Next year I can focus more on these other things that I've been wanting to do for a couple years, but like haven't had the space and time to do. So that's been really cool. So yeah, and it's cool. It's just like dope to say like, oh, I doubled my revenue. Like that's really dope. So, and we added our little baby birds. We for those of you who know, I run the practice out of my farm. So when we initially bought the farm, there was this big 2-story building, like a workshop type building. So it's like a 2-story and then like lean-tos on the side. And it was actually built by a shop class in the area in the 60s from wood on the farm. So like such a cool history. And it's been kind of empty. Like my ex-husband used it for a little while when he was screen printing, and then my ex-boyfriend was using it for storage. So I really basically just used it for the men in my life, and I was like, "You know what? Actually, this is mine, so I'm gonna be the person to use it." So we renovated that space into offices, which was I have, like, 0 patience for things, right? So, having a 3-month renovation was, like, fucking torture, but the offices turned out gorgeous. We kept obviously the majority of the building. We just had to like build some walls and a little baby bathroom, and it was cool. Like we have full offices now, and we have this gorgeous deck, and I just bought furniture for it, so that's sitting under my carport currently, and I have to put it together. Maybe by the time this episode comes out, it will be together, but also maybe not. So no one hold me to that. So we did that, and so we have the offices. We're like a fully functioning freaking practice. We built a parking lot this year, which I don't know why, but the parking lot was like, oh my god, I'm such a grown up. Like I'm such a grown up with a real practice, even though I've been running this practice since 2019. I was like, no, 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 the parking lot definitely makes me a grown up. Like that's the thing. Okay, boo. I was able to put a ton into savings, so I use the profit first method for how I run my like banking for the practice. And I set a profit percentage goal, and I have hit that every single month. So that is really, really cool. So we have like a really beautiful cushion in case things go wrong, in case one of the girls or I get sick. Like we've just got like months of operating expenses, which I'm super, super proud of. I had some really dope friends come visit. So Elise, Sabrina, holla, what up, boo? And if I'm missing anyone, my memory is terrible. But they came out. It was so fun. It was so fun. Next year is definitely a year that I want to do a lot more traveling and a lot more like prioritizing relationships. We'll talk about that in part 2 of this series, our 2-part series called 2022 in Review and what the hell are we doing for 2023? We took some fun trips. I went to Florida. That was really fun. So I got to hang out with some friends there, hang out with my wonderful family. We love that. It's like, love your people if they're good. Love them so hard. And we went to New Orleans with Bay. So I'd never really, well, I went to New Orleans once when I was 18 with Elise, actually, when I was moving her out to Colorado. We stayed like at night. It was not a super safe area at that time. So like 2008, 2000, yeah, 2008. Whew, that's a long time ago. So I went back with Bay this year for his birthday. So I'm someone who like doesn't really love giving presents, but I really love giving experiences. So I was like, hey, and also it benefited me, right? I'm like, let's travel. This would be so fun. So we went to New Orleans, and it was so fun. I tried to do things that I like thought he would love and like things that were fun for me. So we did like an architecture tour. That was really cool. We went kayaking in a swamp. We saw like a 10-foot alligator. I was like, let me take this thing home. And he was like, we're not taking alligator home. And I'm like, do you even love me? Like, what the fuck? Rude. So I did not end up taking alligator home. My dad would have been so excited. If y'all know my dad, you would know. He'd be like, oh my God, look, a baby alligator. Even though it was like 10 feet long. He'd be like, this is the baby. This is my baby. We'll feed it the goats that we ate. I said we would not do that. We would feed it chicken. Very Steve or one of us. What else did we do there? We ate like some hella good food. some like mediocre food, but some like really good food too. We went to a carousel bar. They have like a bar that's literally a spinning carousel in one of the hotels there. That was really cool. We like walked in, we were like, "Yep, yep, this is a carousel bar. It's super busy." And then we left. That's fine. We took a lot of naps. It was a very lovely trip. Um, we were big fans. We ooh, we invested in a ton of education and mentorship. So I'm in a I'm in a mastermind that I joined in July with a business coach. Her name is Andrea Crowder. She's amazing. If you guys do not currently have like if you have like no knowledge of her, Andrea Crowder, amazing. She does a lot of like nervous system work. She does a lot of subconscious work. She is a fucking powerhouse when it comes to like strategy and marketing and selling and creating really, really incredible offers. Like she is someone who I was like, let me get in the room with you and just watch and learn and have your brain on my life and my business. So I'm in a mastermind with her and some other women who are just incredible. Like I often feel like I am the weirdo in the room, like I'm the loser. I'm like, you guys are so cool and like glamorous and is successful and like CEO and oh like literally I'm just like I don't know how you let me in. I have bamboozled all of you into thinking that like I belong here, but fuck it, we're here and we're gonna do the thing. And that's been really incredible. So that's a long-term container. It's continuing into 2023, which has been incredible. And I invested a ton into education, into copy courses, into another like group coaching program run by Sabrina Phillip. If you guys are not aware of her either, she's also phenomenal. Very opposite ends of the spectrum. So Andrea is very like feminine energy, um, intuitive, guided, whereas Sabrina leans a little into that, but she's much more masculine energy, a lot of structure, a lot of operations, a lot of like just both such powerhouses. So I spent multiple five figures on education this year that is only going to serve me. So that was cool to see. So I was like figuring up how much I spent. And it was significantly more than I thought, but also I didn't notice the hit, right? So like one of the beautiful things about running a business is like all of that education is a business expense because it only makes me a better business owner. So it was very cool to be able to have the business pay for those things. Something I'm really proud of is I was able to give the girls a bonus for Christmas. And they don't know yet, but I'll be giving my two little baby birds a raise in February. So like we definitely have the funds for that, and that felt really cool and very good. Um, so yeah, just a ton of wins this year. Like I worked really hard on being more myself with content. So if you guys have ever I don't know how you found me, but like, hi, we love that you're here. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll definitely if you've been following for a long time, you may have noticed a shift into like more cheeky kind of like funny content, which is really where I land a lot of the time. And I'm like kind of shedding the need to be professional, which I've never been very good at anyway. So we love that. So yeah, those are some like big wins for 2022. All of the animals are good. That's always a huge win. We did lose a couple this year. Such is life, unfortunately. We just lost one of our big turkeys, which I'm actually quite sad about. I really love those turkeys. But really, in the grand scheme of things, the family's good. I'm good. Bay is good. We are vibing. So let's get into some lessons because life is not all sunshine and rainbows, and I don't want to give you that picture. One of the big lessons I learned is to pause before acting. And not to assume that other people have integrity or that they care about others. So I was working with our county government last year, and at the end of March, that contract was terminated, which I will literally go to my grave mad about. that was really painful for me. So I am still not over it. I have accepted it, but I am not over it. It happened in a way that I was not on board with, that I am not okay with, and that I had no say in. So I had never dealt with people who let their ego get in the way of making decisions, um, or who let their ego like guide decision making, and that was a really big lesson. Not everyone is a good leader. Not everyone cares. Some people are literally just out for themselves and to do whatever it takes to feel powerful. And I had like literally never dealt with people like that in a business sense before. So I was like, oh, you exist and it sucks. It's like as bad as you think it is. It was worse than I thought it was, honestly. So that was that was a good lesson. And it was a good lesson to me to not put so much energy into something that I don't and can't control the outcome. So for future, if I am ever working as a contractor, I will have a more specific contract and I will have much more leverage and control over the work that I do, how I do it, and the terms. So very, very important. Um, One of the other mindsets I really adopted this year is like going for long term. So both in like a like health capacity. I work with a woman, Allison McHale. She is brilliant. If you guys, oh my God, if you don't know, she's so brilliant. Like I have a lot of really amazing, powerful women around me. And that is that's actually one of the strengths I've had for a really long time is to like kind of build relationships with really amazing women. Thank you, synchronized swimming. Um, and so I have carried that and it's been wonderful. So both in terms of health, she is my coach, so she, like, writes my workouts, we work on goals, we do those things, and it's, like, a year-long contract, so I had zero issue re-signing with her for another year, saying, like, "We are in this for the long haul, like, you're literally never gonna get rid of me." Um, Sorry, I, like you're stuck with me for life now. Um, so doing a long haul mentality, like, health is long haul, the business is long haul, I really took a lot of time this year to build a solid foundation, and it was frustrating and it was hard and it was a lot of back end work that I don't love doing. Like my alter ego Janet, who loves back end work, like she loves that shit, but like Amanda does not love that shit. Just does not love that shit. But it's okay. It needs to be done so that then I can kind of like float off into la la land. So I am a Pisces through and through, and I love to live in the clouds. I love to be in la la dreamland, and that is where I thrive. So back end work, you can imagine, is not my jam. Building solid foundations is not my jam, which is why I hire people smarter than me, way smarter than me. So I'm not terrible at foundation building. It's just kind of boring to me. And if you've listened to me for any amount of time, we all know how much I hate being bored. It's just not the vibe. Um, One of the bigger lessons I learned too is that you can't help everyone. So I got to a point where I was waiting to bring on the girls where we had a wait list of about 25 to 30 people. So I tried to be very transparent with them to tell them like I don't have room, but I'm waiting on I'm waiting on these two women to come on. If you can wait, amazing. If you can't, absolutely no worries, no problem. Like we totally understand. Some people were okay with that, some people weren't, such as life. But I hated having a wait list. So the option that I chose was to take on the more like the people who had like a pretty high need, who were like really, really, really struggling, and for the people who could wait to have them wait. So what that ended up doing to me was giving me about 20 people too many. So for those of you that don't know, like a typical caseload is between like 40 and 50 people. I can sit at 50 to 55 because I've done this for a long time and I have a high capacity. Most people tend to sit between 45 and 50. So at one point I was sitting at like 67, which is way too many people. Now I'm not seeing that many people weekly, but like having almost 70 people in your brain is a lot of people. So we did not love that. I chose to do it, but it did have some big consequences. It took me about 6 months to dig out of that space and to get things situated. So I'm literally just now, almost a year later, more than a year later actually, getting to a space where like my caseload is a normal number of people. I think I'm down to like 54 right now, which is amazing. So yay, people firing me. Um, Another big lesson was the difference that it takes to run a team versus to lead myself. So like I'm easy to lead. I never have problems with myself because I'm the person who lives in my brain all the time. Like there's no miscommunication when I'm the one in my brain, right? So bringing on a team and like stepping into a boss role was totally fucking different. Was totally different. Thank God for Raphael, because there were a lot of nights where I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. Sometimes I can be a dramatic little gremlin too. I don't know. I'm going to fail these girls. And I'm the person responsible for their livelihoods now, right? Like, that's a lot of freaking pressure that I did not think about. I did not think about, well, and I didn't know, right? Like when you expand a team, it's just you don't know. And I didn't think about the amount of back end work that I would have to do. I was like, oh, it'll only be 1 or 2 hours a week because again, I live in la la land. And no, it's not. It's way more. So when you combine way too many clients and having to see them on the schedule that they need to be seen, which means I'm seeing a lot of clients a week, which is it's doable. It's not ideal, right? Because it means that I have to then take from the bank of other things. So like I don't have the energy to work out in the way that I want. I don't literally have the time. I don't have the energy or the time to see friends in the way that I want or to like have hobbies. Like I was working a lot this year. Um, which is fine. I like to work and I will always do what my clients need. But in a perfect world, had I planned better, had other things worked out better, that would not have happened. But life is what it is, right? It is okay. We persevere and we make it work. So there were a lot of nights where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he, bless him, walked me through. He's been a supervisor for a really long time and he is a damn good leader. It's one of the things I really love about him. He's so strong, he's so grounded, he is so like take care of your people. It's like daddy energy. And so that was a really big shift that I made. So 2022 is definitely a year of like expansion and making sure that that expansion is stable and it's grounded and it is safe so that now we have a springboard to jump off of for next year. So we're going to talk about what we're doing next year in the next podcast episode. But yeah, that was 2022. Luckily, I had no huge losses. Um, Thank goodness for that. I know a lot of people did. So sending love to those of you that did. Um, yeah. So that was my year. Lots of things. It's crazy how you can boil down a whole year into like 20. I don't know how long this episode will end up being. Um, but a few things for 2023. If you are interested in working with me, there are two options only. Um, I will be doing master classes throughout the year. So the first one is actually in January. We're going to be talking about using it's called Daydreamer, which the branding is so freaking cute. I'll have a little highlight on my stories for it, but it is adorbs. And it's using the power of dreaming, the power of visualizing. I need to change the word. Visualizing. God, it's the power of dreaming to get the life that you want, right? If you can't dream, you don't know where you're going. So that's going to be the first masterclass of the year. We've got some other ones lined up and they are so fucking fun. The names are so fun. Like I have like a thing with naming, like I have a naming kink, if you will. And it is like one of my it's one of the things I love to do the most is like name things and play around with names. So there's that. There are some courses that I have. So, like, those are the options if you don't want coaching from me. The newest course we revamped a little is Boundaries Baddie. Um, Again, name. It's so fun. So, if you want to learn to set boundaries and feel like a badass, that's literally the course for you. You won't be doing it in a mean way. Like, I don't believe in having to be mean to set boundaries, but you are definitely going to feel like a baddie when you're setting boundaries. So there is that option. If you're one of the few good men who listen to this podcast, then I have an option for you as well. It's basically the same course, but the messaging is a little bit different for you. Because it's a little different when you're setting boundaries, male versus female. So there's that. So you can work with me in a course capacity, in a masterclass capacity where like you're not really going to get personalized coaching for that unless you, well, you're just not. That's not the format. If you want to work with me in a coaching capacity, then Becoming Light is the option that you want. I'm going to run it March to September. So it's a 6 month container. It is a 6 month commitment because that kind of change takes time. So you get weekly coaching calls. That's where you're going to get the personalized coaching with me. I'm capping it at 10 people. This run is women only. I may add a men's group. I may add a mixed group. Right now we're doing a women only capped at 10 people. So it's going to be really intimate. It's going to be really high touch. You'll have access to me 24/7 via like Voxer. So we're going to be doing weekly coaching calls for that. And you're actually getting a cheaper rate than like my therapy clients pay. So that whole coaching program is 2,400, which equals out to $100 a week. There's a reason that I ran it like that. I wanted it to be affordable. So don't be scared at the big price tag. If you were doing therapy, that's actually less than you would pay for weekly therapy. But if you need intense trauma therapy, that group is not for you. So that group is for you if you have done the healing work and you're like, oh shit, now what? Like my nervous system has retuned, but being peaceful feels kind of weird. Being calm feels weird. And I know that like I want more, but I don't know how to get it. Like that is perfect for you. If you need intense trauma work, that is not the group for you. We will not be doing that. Obviously, if things come up, happy to clear them and happy to help you work through them. But the purpose of that group is not to do intense trauma work. It's to help you if you have done the work, you've dug the rot out, and now you want to plant a garden that you want to lay in and take a nap in for and have picnics in, and just like vibe in. So those are the options. And if you want to hear what we're going to be up to in 2023, that's obviously some of them, but there's like more stuff. So yeah, I will see you on the other side. I hope that your 2022 was exactly what you needed. And that if it was harder than you wanted it to be, that those things stay in 2022. And if it was more fun than you were expecting, then hell yeah, let's carry that energy into 2023. I will see you in the next episode.